My child, stop scrolling for a moment. What if the reason you found this message today is because you've been standing at the edge of a breakthrough without even realizing it? You've been asking me for a sign. You've been wondering why the door has remained closed. You have questioned whether I still hear your prayers. But listen carefully. I have not forgotten you. There is something happening behind the scenes that you cannot see yet. A door is being prepared. A path is being redirected. And something you thought was delayed may actually be arriving at the right time. But before I bring you into what is next, I need you to release what has been holding you and what is behind you. There is a small step you already know you need to take. You've been avoiding it. You've been waiting for a bigger sign. You've been asking me for the whole plan when I have already shown you the next step. Today, I want you to listen differently. Do not listen with fear. Do not listen with doubt. Listen with an open heart. Because the message you are about to hear may explain why the last season felt so difficult, why certain doors closed, why certain people walked away, and why the waiting has lasted longer than you expected. Help is here. But first, you need to understand what I have been preparing you for. Stay until the end. There is something I want you to hear before this message is over. My child, I know the questions you have carried quietly. You have asked why other people seem to move forward, while you remain in the same place. You have watched opportunities pass. You have watched people receive answers to prayers that you have been praying for years. And sometimes, even when you celebrated them, a quiet question remained inside you. God, what about me? I heard you. I saw the tears you never explained. I saw the nights when you smiled around people and then broke down when you were alone. I saw the moments when you wondered whether your best days had already passed. But today I want to correct something you have been believing. You were not passed over. You were being prepared. There is a difference between rejection and preparation. A closed door does not always mean that you are unwanted. Sometimes it means the room behind that door is not ready. Sometimes it means you are not ready. Sometimes it means the people connected to your next chapter are still being positioned. You see one moment. I see the entire story. You see the delay. I see the preparation. You see silence. I see movement. You see an empty field. I see the harvest that has not yet appeared. Remember Gideon. When I called him a mighty warrior, he was hiding. Nothing about his circumstances looked powerful. His confidence was weak. His environment was fearful. Yet I did not call him according to what he looked like. I called him according to what I knew he could become. And my child, I am doing the same with you. You keep looking at who you have been. I am looking at who you are becoming. You keep counting your failures. I am looking at your willingness to rise again. You keep saying, I am not ready. And I am saying, you do not need to be perfect. You need to be willing. Your past is not powerful enough to cancel what I am doing in your future. Your mistakes did not surprise me. Your failures did not make me abandon you. I knew every weakness before I called you. I knew every wrong turn before I gave you another opportunity. So stop using your past as evidence against your future. That chapter is not the entire book. You are still becoming. You are still growing. You are still being shaped. And I am not finished with you. There is still purpose in you. There is still life ahead of you. There are still doors you have not seen. There are still prayers that have not yet been answered. So lift your head, take another breath, and refuse to call your waiting season a wasted season. Because while you were waiting, I was preparing. My child, there is something else I need you to understand. You have been asking too many people to confirm what I have already placed inside your heart. You took your dreams to people who could not understand them. You shared your vision with people who only knew how to measure life according to what they had already experienced. And when they doubted you, you began doubting yourself. When they questioned the possibility, you questioned my promise. But their limitations are not my limitations. Their fear is not my instruction. Their experience is not the boundary of what I can do in your life. Remember Samuel. When I called him, he ran to Eli. He thought the voice belonged to a person because he had not yet learned how to recognize my voice. And sometimes you have been doing the same thing. You keep running from person to person asking, what do you think? Should I do this? Do you think this could happen? Do you think God is really leading me? There is wisdom in godly counsel, but not every voice deserves authority over your future. Not every opinion is an instruction. Not every hesitation is a warning from me. Sometimes you simply need to become still enough to hear. You do not need 10 opinions for every decision. You do not need an audience for every dream. You do not need applause while you are still building. Some things need to grow quietly. Joseph learned this. He received a dream about his future, but he shared it with people who were not ready to celebrate it. The dream was true, but the audience was wrong, and the timing was wrong. My child, learn from him. There are things I am growing inside you that do not need to be announced yet. Protect them. Let them develop. Let them gain roots. A seed that is constantly dug up to see whether it is growing will never become a tree. So stop checking every day for evidence. Stop asking, is it happening yet? Keep planting. Keep praying. Keep preparing. And trust me with the timing. There's another warning you need to remember. Do not confuse fear with urgency. Fear says, do it now or you will lose everything. Fear makes you frantic. Fear makes you desperate. Fear makes you act before you think. But my leading is different. I may challenge you. I may stretch you. I may ask you to move. But I do not need panic to lead you. Fear pushes. I lead. Asterisk, asterisk. Remember those words. When you feel that quiet knowing inside you, when you know something needs to change, when you know a relationship is draining you, when you know a habit is holding you back, when you know there is a conversation you need to have, do not keep calling it overthinking. Sometimes the thing you've been avoiding is the very thing standing between you and your next chapter. And that is why I am asking you to obey in the small things. You keep waiting for a massive miracle, but I may be asking for one simple step, one conversation, one boundary, one decision, one door closed, one door opened, one act of courage. You do not need the entire staircase. You need the next step. Hashtag part 3. Your breakthrough requires movement. My child, you have prayed for change. You have asked for breakthrough. You have asked me to open doors. But now I want you to understand something. Sometimes breakthrough begins with movement. Think about the fishermen who worked all night and caught nothing. They were exhausted. They were professionals. They knew the water. They had evidence that their efforts had failed. Yet they were told to go back into the deep. They could have said, "We already tried." Instead, they moved again. And Peter said something that reveals the heart of faith. Nevertheless, at your word, that is what I am building in you. Not a faith that works only when everything makes sense. A faith that says, even when I do not understand, I will trust you. The empty night did not mean the fish were absent. It meant they were not where the fishermen were looking. And perhaps what you need is not missing. Perhaps you have simply been looking in the wrong place. You've been working in shallow water because shallow water feels safe. But I am calling you deeper. Deeper trust. Deeper obedience. Deeper faith. You cannot always see the bottom when you go deeper. That is why it is called trust. And there is another thing you need to release. You have been carrying responsibilities I never asked you to carry. You have been carrying other people's choices, their emotions, their problems, their future, their opinions. You have been trying to control outcomes that belong to me. Let them go. Pray for them. Love them. Forgive them. But do not carry what I never assigned to you. Your fear has never protected the people you love. My hand has. So release them and pick up what I actually gave you. There's also something else you already know you need confront. You have learned to live around it. Maybe it is a relationship. Maybe it is a habit. Maybe it is an old mindset. Maybe it is a distraction. Maybe it is a decision you keep postponing. You have adjusted your entire life around it. And because you have lived with it for so long, you have started calling it normal. But familiar does not always mean healthy. You keep asking me for strength to carry something I am asking you to put down. That is why you are exhausted. You are spending energy maintaining something I am asking you to release. My child, put it down. You will not lose yourself by obeying me. You will find yourself. And then keep walking. Remember Jericho. For 6 days, the people walked around the wall. Nothing changed. No visible crack. No evidence. No sign that the wall was weakening. but they kept walking. And on the seventh day, everything changed. You do not know what day you are on. You do not know how close you are. That is why you cannot quit simply because you cannot see progress. The absence of visible movement does not prove the absence of invisible movement. Stop staring at the wall. Look at the instruction. Keep moving. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep your heart open, because the wall that has stood in front of you for so long will not stand forever. And when it falls, you'll understand why I asked you to keep walking. My child, help is here, but I need you ready to receive it. Make room. Protect your peace. Protect your purpose. Stop returning to closed chapters. Stop allowing old voices to define your future. Stop waiting for everyone to understand what I am doing in your life. Show up. Do the small thing. Take the next step. And trust me with everything you cannot see. You do not need the whole plan today. You need enough faith for today. Enough courage for today. Enough obedience for today. And that is enough, because your story is not over. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are not disqualified. You are still becoming. You are still being prepared. And I am still writing. Help is here. Hope is here. Grace is here. And I am here. Asterisk, asterisk. Hashtag powerful ending. Help is here. My child, before you leave this message, I need you to hear this one last time. You are not forgotten. The season you are in is not the end of your story. You may not understand why certain doors closed. You may not understand why some people walked away. You may not understand why the answer took so long. But you do not have to understand everything to trust me. I have been with you in the waiting. I have been with you in the disappointment. I have been with you when you had no answers. I was with you when you cried in silence. And I am still with you now. What you called a delay may have been preparation. What you called rejection may have been protection. What you called silence may have been my invitation to listen more closely. And what you called an ending may have been the beginning of something you could not yet see. So stop looking backward for permission to move forward. Your past has already taught you what it needed to teach you. Now take what you learned and keep walking. Do not allow fear to convince you that nothing will ever change. Do not allow disappointment to make you settle for less than what I am calling you toward. And do not allow someone else's limitations to become the boundaries of your faith. You are allowed to hope again. You are allowed to believe again. You are allowed to dream again. You are allowed to expect good things again. Not because everything around you is perfect, but because I am still faithful. Remember, fear pushes. I lead, asterisk, asterisk. When you do not know what to do, take the next right step. When you cannot see the entire road, trust me with the part you can see. When the wall is not fallen yet, keep walking. When the answer has not arrived yet, keep praying. When the dream seems impossible, keep preparing. And when you feel like giving up, remember how far I have already brought you. You are closer than you think. There is still purpose ahead. There is still growth ahead. There is still restoration ahead. There are still opportunities you have not seen. There are still prayers that I am working through. There are still chapters waiting to be written. My child, help is here. But help may not always arrive in the way you imagined. Sometimes I will send a person. Sometimes I will open a door. Sometimes I will close a door. Sometimes I will give you an opportunity. And sometimes I will give you the courage to walk away from something that was slowly destroying your peace. Do not tell me how the answer must look. Trust me to choose the form of the answer. I know what you need. I know what you can carry. I know what is coming. And I know how to prepare you for it. So today, release the burden. Release the fear. Release the timeline. Release the need to control every outcome. Put it into my hands. Then take the step you already know you need to take. Not tomorrow. Today. It may seem small. It may not impress anyone. No one may even notice. But obedience does not need an audience. Take the step and trust me with what comes next. You do not need the whole plan. You need today's faith, today's courage, today's obedience. And that is enough. Hashtag final prayer. Father, I pray for every person listening to this message right now. Meet them exactly where they are. If they are tired, give them strength. If they are afraid, give them peace. If they are confused, give them wisdom. If they are disappointed, restore their hope. If they have been waiting, give them patience without allowing them to lose expectation. Remind them that they have not been forgotten. Help them recognize the doors you are opening and accept the doors you are closing. Give them courage to release relationships, habits, distractions, and burdens that no longer belong in their next season. Give them discernment to know which voices to listen to and which voices to leave behind. Protect their heart from fear. Protect their mind from doubt. Protect their purpose from distraction. And give them the strength to take the next step even when they cannot see the entire path. Father, let their waiting produce wisdom. Let their struggles produce endurance. Let their disappointments produce deeper faith. And let their story become a testimony of your faithfulness. May they walk into this new season with peace instead of panic, faith instead of fear, purpose instead of confusion, and courage instead of hesitation. Let them remember that you are not finished with them. Their story is not over. Their future is not canceled. Their purpose is not lost. You are still working. You are still preparing. You are still leading. And you are still with them. In the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Hashtag final call to action. If this message spoke to your heart, don't just listen to it and move on. Take one moment right now and make a decision. Write, "I trust God," in the comments as your declaration of faith. Not because everything is already perfect. Not because you have all the answers. But because you are choosing to trust God even before you see the outcome. And if you know someone who is going through a difficult waiting season, share this message with them. They may need these words today more than you realize. Subscribe for more powerful messages of faith, hope, encouragement, and God's presence. And remember this, you are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are not disqualified. Your story is not over. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep walking. Because the wall will not stand forever. The door will not remain closed forever. The waiting season will not last forever. And what God is preparing for you is not canceled simply because you cannot see it yet. Help is here. Hope is here. Grace is here. And God is still with you.